As the descendant of a colonist and a Revolutionary War patriot, I stand in awe of the 15 women who voted here 150 years ago. They were way ahead of the curve. The instigator of what unfolded at Grand Mound and Littlerock was the redoubtable Mary Olney Brown, a suffragist from patriot stock. It remained for Mary's equally enterprising sister, Charlotte Emily Olney French, to win over the poll watchers on June 6, 1870. Mary Olney Brown was a force of nature. She wrote letters to the editor to advance equal rights while also defending the rights of women of color. Such was her stature in the National Women's Suffrage Association that Mary was designated as an honorary vice president at the 1879 convention in St. Louis, together with Lucretia Mott, the equal rights icon. The first Olneys in America arrived from England in 1635. They soon ran afoul of the Massachusetts Bay Colony because they were Baptists. They were moved to Providence, and before long Thomas Olney, the patriarch, became active in civic affairs. He was named as one of the 10 assistants to the governor in the Royal Charter of 1663, a document which served as the basis for Rhode Island's government for nearly 2 centuries. Fast forward to the 1850s. The Olney sisters came west from Iowa by wagon, 3,000 miles in 6 months. Mary and her husband, a well-known abolitionist, lost one of their 5 children to illness along the way. So in a manner of speaking, the Olney sisters were Latter-day colonists as well as revolutionaries. By 1870, Mary was living in Olympia, frustrated at having been denied the right to vote the year before, despite an eloquent plea to the election judges, emphasizing that territorial law empowered all white American citizens to vote. Moreover, the 14th Amendment of the Constitution, ratified in 1868, declared all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States. Charlotte, who lived at Grand Mound, was an energetic deputy to her sister. Here's Mary's version of what happened on that fateful day. Being a woman of energy and influence, Charlotte soon had the whole neighborhood interested as she set about organizing a regular campaign for suffrage. Her recruits prepared a mouth-watering picnic dinner at the schoolhouse where the election was to be held. The goal was to get the election officials in good humor, she wrote. My sister, being a good talker and well-informed in all the constitutional, judicial, and social phases of the question, as well as a good judge of human nature, was able to meet and parry every objection and give information where needed. When the voting was resumed, the women, my sister being the first, handed in their ballots. One lady, Mrs. Sargent, 72 years old, said she thanked the Lord that he had let her live until she could vote. She had often prayed to see the day, and now she was proud to cast her first ballot. The clincher in this already great story is the man, a noble suffragette, one might say, who was standing by to carry the news to Littlerock if the women at Grand Mound had succeeded in voting. They had, so off he galloped. Thrilled at the news, the women here were ushered into the schoolhouse, their choice of tickets furnished them, and all allowed to vote as American citizens. But that good news was tempered by what happened at the territorial capital. While the women of these 2 precincts were enjoying the exercise of their political rights, the women of Olympia were suffering the vexation of disappointment, Mary Brown wrote. In fits and starts, small victories, and bitter defeats, it would take another 40 years of persistent resilience before Washington women finally secured equal voting rights, most of them at least. The suffragist victory here in 1910 reignited the national movement, and Washington women were at the forefront of the final push for ratification of the 19th Amendment 100 years ago. In this historic, extraordinarily challenging election year, we should well remember what happened here in this little place with big consequences in 1870 as we cast our own ballots. It's a right, a privilege, and a responsibility rolled into one. Thank you.